And then I realized that not only can you speak this language of your soul, but I was dancing it, writing it. You could paint it. You can use your hands as a sign language using it.
Mm.
And like I said, I like to bring the whole body in because when we bring in the whole body with the sound frequency and the movement, you have, breath, movement, sound, silence, stillness. They all work together.
Come along with us as we dive into the fascinating world of sound, exploring its many dimensions, blending the best of both worlds to uncover the secrets of sound, voice, and vibration. Hello, everyone. Welcome again to my channel, to Conversations Bridging the Science and Spirituality of Sound, Voice, and Vibration. And today I am very honored and excited to have with me Maryanne Savino. And she and I connected. I think we connected online and found that we had a couple of commonalities, voice being one of them for sure. She is, from her bio, a galactic starseed. She is a sonic and vocal alchemist, an ascension guide and educator, light language oracle, empathic channel, temple dancer. Ooh, I didn't get hook into that one. We got to check that out. A chantress, beautiful, beautiful, and a womb priestess. So much there to unpack in this conversation. So Maryanne, that is a beautiful, beautiful resume, beautiful bio, and so much rich experience in all of that. Would you like to share with the viewers just a little bit about your journey, how you got started in all of this, and touch on a few of those, certainly about the voice and we were just talking behind the scenes about voice and movement, and I said, you're singing my song.
Thank you for having me, by the way, Ruth. It's an honor, and I'm excited to be here and share. So, how I got started when I was just a toddler, unfortunately, my family, we had a terrible tragedy in our family. My father was killed. And as I began I don't remember him, but that experience of him dying, of him being his life was taken from him. That experience led me to question lots of things and put me on the path of spirit. Because as I began to get older and ask all these questions, like, why did this happen? Why do these terrible things happen to us? What's the reason for me being here? What am I doing on the earth? Like, I was raised Roman Catholic. At one point, and I'm not against religion or anything like that, but at one point I started to feel that there was something missing. And so I started to question about religion. And then I started feeling that spirit essence come through. And I started with yoga and meditation and working with herbal medicine. And then I came upon sacred temple dances. And the sacred temple dances are what opened me up to the sound vibration, and particularly my voice. I was in a class with my teacher, my kumu from Hawaii, and we were doing our dance, our temple dance. And at the end, we come into a circle, and all of a sudden, my voice. I've never had any, I didn't sing. I loved music my whole life. I started dancing as a child. But in that moment, this incredible sound came through that I had never heard before or felt before. And I thought to myself, I don't know what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, but here it is. And a woman in the class came over and she said, I've never heard anybody tone so beautifully. And I'm like, what is that? I don't know what toning is. And then I said, okay, there's something going on here. And little by little, the synchronicities, as soon as I opened up my voice, the synchronicity started flowing in. I met a woman by the name of Chloe Goodchild, who's a famous, well-known sound healer and voice teacher. And then the music of Hildegard came into my life. And I started to tone and sing, and I had no experience whatsoever. I never took a voice lesson or anything. and always loved to sing, but thought, well, I'm not a singer. But then as I started to play around with my voice, these what are called overtones started to happen. These are simultaneous notes happening at the same time. And I remember the experience of it, what it felt like more than what it sounded like. And that was the thing about sound vibration, especially with my voice, that I found fascinating, is that it's not so much of just listening auditorily with our ears, right? It's the feeling that comes in with it and expresses out, like you emit a frequency. And more, as I said, these synchronicities would keep happening. And then I would go through these physical health issues, starting with severe panic disorder and depression and anxiety and digestive problems, you name it. And it was all related to the trauma when I was a child. So the more I delved into spirituality and the practices and the voice and the dance, it started to open up the trauma wounds, which was not fun at first because I had no idea what was happening to me. It was quite daunting and scary at the beginning. And I remember, you think, okay, I better go get my health checked out, right? And your doctor says there's nothing wrong. All your tests are normal. I said, well, there has to be because I don't feel normal. And then I remember in that moment of saying, I don't feel normal. What is normal?
Good question.
And I realized it's not about what feels normal. It's what's happening to me. What am I experiencing here? And I went through the gamut of traditional therapy into somatic therapy, spirituality, shamanism, you name it. I started delving in. I have to know. I need to know. Something in my soul was telling me very clearly that you're here for a bigger purpose that you weren't even aware of until the trauma wounds showed up. I look at the trauma as a blessing, as uncomfortable. I'm a 5-time cancer survivor, by the way. The trauma is the gift when we are willing go deeper into it. And the sound vibration for me is medicine. It's like everything in the universe is comprised of, vibration, and it carries its own frequency. And everything about us is resonating. We are a resonating body for the pulsations of the cosmos. We are frequency in this human vessel. And I'm in this human life going through these experiences and thinking, why me? What did I do wrong? Of course, that was a big thing for me that would come up as a child. What did I do wrong? Why did this happen? And of course, as I became an adult and started to search through my spirituality and through the sound vibration in particularly, it made me realize it's not what you think, but it's what you know inside that you haven't been aware of. And the sound vibration has been a vehicle to help me tap into the frequency of my soul through sound. That's,
So sound, the practice of toning, of using your voice in that way, and you also are a sound practitioner as well, has helped you, I'm sure, in many ways to move the trauma, and that's something I also speak about as well with my own journey, that I felt very strongly that my relationship with music as a young person and my own voice and studying voice and singing was my go-to my safe haven. It was where I felt empowered, and I felt like it was balm to my body and my soul. And it literally is, because you're literally, as you say, the overtones are incredible in our voices. There's hundreds of overtones above the pitch, what they call the fundamental, or what we think we hear, right? And that's what you're being bathed in, literally, because it moves through the water, all the fluid in our
All the
body,
food.
and
Yes.
restructures and rearranges it. Yeah, so there's something very, very, it's very, a very intimate, isn't it? Isn't it like a really super? I'm trying to think of the right word, Maryanne, here.
It's intimate, and it's like there's this, as I said, it's like the knowing of your soul that we are this frequency.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that I want to discount that I am human. Like I hear a lot of these, I've said it myself that, none of this is real. It's all an illusion and yada, yada, yada. But the thing is that yes, we are in a human life, but we are so much more than our human selves. Our souls are eternal. I believe it. And the physical, we then drop off at some point. But the frequency of sound is a way for me to know my soul in a very different way than I think. It's this feeling and knowing and expression of, who I am in my purest sense.
Yes, in your pure, and that just rang right here. Yeah, hit me right here in your pure, in the purity of you, the purity of what your essence. And I always like to say, I may have heard this before, but I'm borrowing it, that our voice is our soul's essence in the physical. It literally, it's like our soul's calling card in a way. It connects us to that divine aspect of, or the, divine, not religious sense, but divine in the sense of the all that is, that we are a part of. It connects us to that. And yeah, we are in the physical. And that's, I kind of get, you were sort of leading in a direction. I wanted to ask you about this. I love the New Age community. Obviously, I guess I'd say I'm sort of a part of it, but not really. I just, I don't know. I only resonate with certain aspects of it. But I think a lot of people are trying to get out of their bodies. Okay. I think we had talked about this before, but
And I work with embodiment. So this is a good
right,
thing for bringing this up. I don't want to interrupt you.
right. No,
Okay.
you're good.
Well,
That was what I was exactly. And that's what we have to get back into our bodies.
well, that's just it. We escape our bodies, and I'm a testament to this. Why did I escape my body and be, why was I living up in my mind most of my life? Trauma, unresolved trauma. Because when you go through a trauma, even though, let's say the trauma already happened, it's not happening now, the memory is stored in the cells, in the tissue. Now, what does sound do? Sound goes in, or I should say from within too. It's not just going in, because if you're using your own voice, or if a practitioner comes to you and starts working on you in some way with their, sound, whether it's your voice or a crystal bowl or a tuning fork, it starts accessing those wound imprints. It could be from ancestral patterning, from other lifetimes, from this lifetime. And what it does, it starts to help you access the wound so that you can bring it up to the surface and release it. Now, people say, well, if that's true, why did you get cancer 5 times? If you've done the work, how come you? Because there's layers. And there's no judgment. I used to say that too. What did I do wrong? How did this happen after I thought I healed this wound? Well, my own higher power and God source frequency, when I tap in, I asked, what is going on? What didn't I learn? And they said, it's not what you didn't learn. It's the wisdom that you're gaining from these experiences. And it's true. Each time I went through it, I learned something that I couldn't even figure out with my mind. It was just, again, this knowing, this feeling.
Mm.
this experiencing of, okay, this happened again and I've survived it. So something is right here, or it's not even about right and wrong. There's something resonant here. And resonance is an important word because to me, resonance is like the song of you that your soul is, that lives within, that aligns to harmonious energies, be it sound, frequency, whatever it is. And so each time I use my own voice to, for instance, to direct the frequency of my own soul's divinity into any area of the body where there could be an imbalance. It doesn't only have to be cancer. It could be maybe you're having a bad, you know, digestive problem, or maybe you're having some depression,
Right.
you know, whatever it is, when you take, it's entrainment is what I would say it is. You take the lower frequency and you bring it up, like here's your divinity. And it's not that low and high, you know, high and low are bad, or you take that, let's say here's the cancer, whatever. You take that frequency and you bring it up to your pure, beautiful, divine self, and it has no choice but to merge and restore itself. There is no way to fail, because when you raise that up, you're not getting rid of it, because that's where the problem is with the embodiment, that we try to escape because it's too painful.
Mm.
It's daunting. It's too scary. Like, what? I don't want to deal with this. It's just too much for me. And that, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a human feeling to say, oh my gosh, I don't think I can deal with this again.
It's a protective measure, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
sure,
And
sure.
it's that, you know, can I come back into my body and go to the places inside of me that I've denied? Anything that I tried to escape from, can I go there and look at that aspect of myself? It's almost like a little orphan child who's lost, that shadow aspect, because shadow is not bad. We need a healthy amount of shadow to restore us, to help us return to the light. You know, like when we're looking for the balance, right? You look at the yin yang symbol, right? You got the black and the white. It's dark and light. That is part of being in the balance. So I go to, let's say, the trauma in my body and the wounded little child and say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I wasn't paying attention to you. You know, what am I missing here? Did I not see something? Can you show me? And the first thing that came up was, how come you love the light more than the dark?
Wow.
And I was in tears, and I said, oh my gosh, this little being is just reaching out to say, love me as much as you love the light, because I'm just as important.
Oh,
And that helps you come back home to your body. Because the other thing, I kind of feel that all sickness, illness is homesickness. It's like you're trying to come home to yourself. You know, you're looking for a way. How can I come home and be comfortable and feel safe in this human vessel?
mm. And so many times, along those lines, we abandon our bodies. We abandon that little child within us, and we become bifurcated, I believe. And that in and of itself can create a lot of, as you said, imbalance. One of the things I wanted to speak to, and when I throw out numbers, folks, everybody, I just want you to know I'm parroting what I've seen, heard, read. Whether it's 100% true, I don't know. I think this is correct, but I was talking when you were saying about frequency of your voice higher, and it entrains the lower frequencies, to the higher frequency of your voice. That your viruses, pathogens, diseases, whatnot, have a very low hertz. They vibrate at a very low frequency. And our voice starts, I think the human voice starts somewhere at about 150 hertz.
Ah,
So we're really, I mean, that's like a human female's voice. So that's, you're really, kicking that up quite a bit, to ask that, bring up the frequency of that, any imbalance or dis-ease in your body. But thank you for that with a beautiful reminder, talking to your child. That was the single most impactful thing for me, even better than talk therapy, which I did for years. Honestly, and I love my therapists and everything. I'm sure it all helped. But the thing that really brought me home to me was talking to my little girl,
Yeah,
was getting a picture of her in my head, like, one of the old photographs from the 60s,
exactly.
where
Yeah.
I'm in a little cute little red overalls, and I've got a picture of her. I'm like 3 years old. I put her on my lap and I
Oh,
talk to her in my mind's eye, and I tell her that I love her and I'm so sorry if I've abandoned you. And then I envision that one time it happened, I felt my parents and my family, my whole family has since gone into spirit, and they were all surrounding me. And yeah,
I had the
really powerful.
thank you for saying that because I had the same experience. I was working with my inner little Maryanne, and then my parents came in with their inner child, and I thought, wow, this is interesting. And that's where the healing really happened for me because there was resentment and anger at both my parents, my father for dying, my mother for not being available because she was so distressed, and realizing, oh my gosh, that was the moment when I realized they're more wounded than I am. And they didn't know any better, and they couldn't do any better than what they had done. And I realized that the wounded child grows up to be a wounded adult. So the more you work on the wounded child, that adult heals through her or
Oh,
through, yeah,
and being the adult to your wounded child.
that you didn't,
Have,
she didn't,
right?
he or she didn't get that love or connection because they weren't there for us, but that doesn't mean
Right.
we can't give it to ourselves.
Right. And at some point in your life, you stop blaming your parents
Yeah,
and take responsibility for your own inner landscape.
absolutely.
And that's the piece where that inner child work is so beautiful. I just had somebody else on not too long ago, and she was doing, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to remember the name of it, but it was, I'll think of it later and I'll put it down in the description. But Kelly Sattel, it was absolutely beautiful. She was working with this therapy where it was just a family constellation therapy. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
And I did a session with her and it was wonderful. Oh my gosh, it was so interesting. But yeah, it was all about releasing, getting, the memories that are held in the cells.
And how I got into working as a womb priestess, it doesn't just start when we're out of the womb, but whatever our grandmothers, great grandmothers, mothers didn't heal, now we're in our mother's wombs gestating the epigenetic of the disease that I went through because there's no cancer in my family.
Wow.
And the fact that the health nut wound up, I'm like, well, how is that possible? I'm the one that takes care of myself. And I'm like, okay, never mind. I was fortunate to ask my mom before she passed away. We didn't have the best relationship, by the way, but it healed through going through the illness and, believe it or not, going through menopause, which was a big help for me because I finally had the courage to ask my mother for help because I would never ask.
Wow.
But what I learned is that when I was gestating in my mother's womb, I remember as I was studying, there was a question that came up. What was going on in your mother's womb when you were gestating there? Like, what was she experiencing? So I asked her, and she goes, why would you ask me a question like this? I said, because I'm studying this program and I need your help. So she said, well, and here's the interesting thing, and now it makes a lot of sense. This is the power of thought and what it can do. She told me, I get teary-eyed, that she felt like she wanted to die and she didn't know why.
Mm.
Now that imprint went into me. So when I found that out, I get chills. I had to go in to that epigenetic and say, this is not mine.
Right.
I do not need to carry this, and I'm not going to send it back to my mom because I don't want her soul to have. So I ask you, Spirit, to please help us remove this trauma, because that imprint came to me and I wasn't conscious of it. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm dying.
Yeah.
And of course, you get a cancer diagnosis and you think,
I'm
here
going
we
to die.
go. And so what I realized is, no, this is an imprint, a karmic, miasmic imprint. And you have to be able to go in and work through that and say, this is, you have to, I had to honor the fact this is not an illusion. This did happen. I did, I've been diagnosed. I did go through an experience in my body, but that trauma is no longer happening. So in this moment of now, I release myself from anything from my past, whether it's a past life or this life, that does not belong to me. And I send it with so much love. I bathe it with love. And I was using my voice to tone into it. It's very powerful what we can do with a pattern from our mind, because thoughts are powerful.
Yeah, beautiful. That brings to mind it's Jonathan Goldman's phrase, right? I'm sure if you're involved in sound, intention plus sound equals healing.
Yeah.
Right. And so much of what we do, I think it's 99.9% intention. I really do. And whatever we use, whether we use our voice or whether we use instruments or whatever, cards, those are tools. That's it, to focus maybe our attention. But yeah, it's amazing what you can do when we start to focus on something. That's what I've always noticed at times when you focus on something, things happen. As Wayne Dyer used to say, the universe conspires to all manner of things and experiences, and people will come to help you to move you forward in your intention. And it's like, you almost don't believe it. It's like, oh, come on. That's like too good to be true, but it is true. It's fascinating to me. And, I was just going to think about, I'm going through a little bit of an existential crisis right now in my journey. So I'm re-questioning so much, and it's driving me a little nuts, actually.
I think that's coming up for a lot of people.
Oh my gosh.
Year of in numerology, we're in a 9-year, and it's all about completion and letting go and forgiveness. And then on top of it, we're in the year of the wood snake. And ironically, I'm a 9 in my life path, and I'm born in the year of the wood snake. So
isn't that cool?
This
Wow.
is very intense. So I do think we are shedding what the snake, if the snake doesn't shed its skin, it dies. So we are having to shed anything that's an old program, an old pattern, an old belief that's not really serving us, and saying, I'm ready to let this go now.
Oh, you see it in the collective too? Holy mackerel, what's going on in the world? Big, a huge way. Yeah. Yeah. So that thank you for bringing that up, Maryanne. That's so cogent. Yeah, for sure. The year of the snake. I had forgotten about that. You're getting a double whammy.
I'm really getting a double. I thought, wow. But so the fun thing is, next year we're in the year of the horse, and it's a 1 year. So it's all about new beginnings and moving forward. So I always say, this year, try to be as patient as possible, because it's not about a lot of doing and manifesting. It's more about let go, keep letting go, let go and let go.
Perfect. Yeah. I'm pulling cards that are telling me back off, rest, stop with the doing. You're not a human doing, you're a human being, right? As that silly thing people say, but it does. And I've been doing, for so many years, and it feels a little odd. I went outside and just said the heck with it. I just weeded in my garden yesterday, spent a couple hours doing that. Haven't done that in a long time.
Wow. Yeah.
Really?
Digging your hands into Mother Earth and letting go is a beautiful experience. I think we all need to do a little of that from time to time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And my thing is radical self-care, with sound, voice, and vibration. And that when we say radical, what's radical is you have to make you a complete, absolute priority, and your commitment to yourself is sacrosanct. It is it's non-negotiable, as I always say.
Absolutely. And we are in
You
a
know.
time on the planet. I mean, I know this might sound kind of funny where we've never been before, right? But the acceleration and amplification of energies that we're being flooded with is really, it can be at times quite uncomfortable, but it's also helping us. It's like I said earlier, when you direct a harmonious sound into an imbalanced area, it's going to help bring up that imbalance to cleanse it and clear it. Well, we're getting a lot of help from the cosmos, but sometimes we resist it because the other thing that would come up for me, and this was a big finding and powerful in that, this energy that's inside of us that we sometimes aren't aware of. It's like, what is it that I'm not seeing? What is it that I can, connect with inside myself to bring me to that place of harmony? Because when the energies come in, as I said earlier, it goes into the areas that maybe we've been avoiding and brings it up to the surface so that we can let go of it. We can release it. And also to know that we're in a powerful time and we showed up for it. I believe, the other thing about sound vibration for me, with the vocal toning that just started happening, something else happened probably about maybe 10 years later. I was at an event with two of my friends that were giving the event, and both of them are vocal, practitioners. They work with their voices and spirit. And in the moment that they started to speak what they call these light language, language of the soul, I had seen it in written form, and they started to speak this language that the strangest thing was it felt familiar, and yet I couldn't understand it through the mind. But in my soul, it hit me like a piercing light to right in the heart, to the point where they were speaking it and it was getting really fast. I got up and ran out of the room. There was like 150 people in the room. We were all sitting there taking in this activation. I ran out of the room and I started having a panic attack.
Wow.
And my friend Jody at the time, she was one of the, she came out, she goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, I'm not. I don't know what's happening to me. I'm really scared. I feel like I'm going to lose control." And in that moment, she put her hands on me. She said, "You're not. It's going to be okay." And then I went back into the room. I took a few deep breaths and I felt it. This is an awakening to remember, not just an awakening, but you are remembering something in you that you cannot comprehend with the mind. It bypasses the linear mind and the thoughts. Not that, and listen, we are human, we use our minds, it's important, but we have so much more going on inside. So I started tapping in to this language, and as they were speaking it, then I started speaking it as it was. I said, "Where is this coming from? I have no idea what I'm doing." Why? It was the same thing like with the vocal toning. But I always say it's not even something that you learn, because I do teach, but what I teach, I give students, I facilitate practices that they can use to help them access it. So when you're learning like Spanish or Italian or French, you're learning from, a specific language. This is a language of the soul that bypasses the mind. And it really, some people say it goes right to your soul, and I think that's true, but I feel like it's coming from my soul.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's like infinite. There's frequencies that come in, our divinity, our angels, whatever we like to connect with, and then within our DNA lives this beautiful language. And I will, at toward the end of the show here, I could give a transmission of the sound of the light language for everyone.
Oh, I was going to ask you and only hope that you would say yes. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I'm not
Thank
sure
you.
how long we have more to go, but
Oh, it
for
doesn't
that,
matter. No, there's no time. No
okay,
time limit.
okay, that
People
was
pop on and off, you know.
that was an experience that came to me, and then I realized that not only can you speak this language of your soul, but I was dancing it, writing it. You could paint it. You can use your hands as a sign language using it.
Mm,
And like I said, I like to bring the whole body in, because when we bring in the whole body with the sound frequency and the movement, you have, breath, movement, sound, silence, stillness. They all work together.
mm.
So it's really a profound experience to be able, because the other thing I found with the silence part, that's where the sound is born. When you go to the silence and just tune everything else out, that's when my voice really opened up. When we were dancing that night in the class, and then all of a sudden we stopped. In the stillness and the silence is when the voice came in, when my voice came and expressed the part of my soul that I wasn't even aware of.
Mm.
Yeah, it's pretty profound.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's yeah, like I said, you're singing my song here because I so work with my offerings are about embodiment and also somatic movement combined with organic sounding, right? So somebody that I was working with, Vicky Dodd, who's wonderful, yeah, she's
Yes,
in
I
fact
have her book.
she's doing something tonight too.
I saw that.
Did you see you're on her list? Okay, good.
I'm
Yeah,
on her list. Yes, I
okay,
saw it.
yeah, I was gonna go. But she have her book. Did you read her book yet? Her book's amazing.
I'm just reading it now. I just
Yeah,
started reading it. It's
really
wonderful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
But the exercises in that are wonderful. She talks about, well, you were just saying about this, the importance of silence. Your brain, they say, the science says your brain needs silence, right? And it does. But there is something inside of you that is like a silent sound. That's what she talks about. The silent hum, the voice of your soul. I guess that, and when I was working with somebody else too, and they were talking about doing a mantra out loud, right? For, practicing it for a certain amount of time and then doing it silently. And she was saying that it's even more powerful silently inside.
Yeah.
And because maybe there's more intention of the thought form, the frequency of your thoughts. I'm not sure. I have no idea. It's just
Well, I think for me, like when I go into that stillness for a moment, like before I give a transmission of light language, I stop. I place my hands on my heart. I go within. Yes, there are times that maybe there's angelic frequencies or galactic frequencies that will come in to assist. But as I said earlier, I believe what is above and outside of us is also inside. The universe lives within us. So yes, it's this infinity of, yes, I can go up to the cosmos and I can come down to Mother Earth, and then I could just go right inside, so that it's all connected from cosmic to earth to soul within my own heart. We have that ability if we're willing, that beautiful stillness and silence. So much can be birthed, so much richness can be birthed from that.
And the concept of listening with intention, conscious listening is also something I think that is sorely needed to be practiced in today's society. Just being just listening, we talk about like listening to our bodies, listening to the inner landscape. And I think that people don't want to take the time to even just be quiet sometimes and just listen. How do we listen to our bodies? Because a lot of times we don't even know if we are hindering what our body's trying to tell us and so forth. And for you, as you were speaking earlier about how you were a 5-time cancer survivor, is there in the work, the significant work that you've been doing, is there a way that you have learned to listening to your body
Yeah.
specifically, not so much your inner, I mean, I guess it's part of your intuition and your inner guidance
But
too.
no, no, about
Yeah,
actually like going in and talking to the cells,
right.
like asking your own cellular structure, is there anything that I need to know to help you? Like, what is happening inside of me? Why did you show up? Like, I went right to the cancer cells. What are you doing here? Why did you show up? What is the reason, for you showing up in my life? And what came through was really profound. At first I didn't hear anything and I'm thinking, oh no, what's going on? How come there's no answer? The first thing that came up was, I'm here to show you that you have the ability to be well and whole because you already are, but you had forgotten.
Mm,
And to not be up in the mind about it, that this is a journey to go deeper into the heart and divinity of my soul, and that this is going back generation upon generation upon generation from mostly my father's lineage. And look at what happened. My father was murdered at the age of 39. I was 39 when I got my first cancer diagnosis,
mm,
right in the area of the body where in Hawaiian shamanism, because I studied Hawaiian shamanism, the body mapping right in the area that tumor showed up was the age of 39, right before you're about to turn 40. I mean, there's just no mistake. And the first diagnosis that I got, I came right out of my body. I completely just jumped out of my body. And that night, I had to go home and tell my mom what happened. I was afraid. First, I told my siblings. So long story. I'm going to get to the shorter version because it's too long to go into now. But I got on the bus when I came out of the subway. At the time, I was living in Queens. I got on the bus and I missed my stop. I said, "Oh no." I said, "All right, never mind." So the next stop was actually quite far away because it was off the freeway. You had to go through the freeway. And then, so guess what? I get off the bus and I had to walk over an overpath. And when I came down the overpath, I was right near the cemetery where my father was buried. It was as if he was telling me, at that moment, I didn't realize it. It came later when I came back into my body and I thought, there's no mistake here. This
no.
is a clear, evident, like sign from him. And it was very clear that you don't have to carry this wound anymore. But okay, then again, you say, well, if that's true, why did it happen again? Because each time it did, I learned something more about myself, but I also learned things to help others.
Others, right.
Now, it's not everyone is going to take their own journey the way their soul came in to take it. So I never push my beliefs. The other important lesson I learned with sound vibration too is that listen for your own unique sound. We all have our own unique vibratory frequency, whether we use our voices or use, a tuning fork, which we pick a specific crystal bowl or a drum, whatever it is. Ask for your specific soul signature of sound. And the other thing that came to me, whenever I come across a person who's going through whatever the illness may be, instead of bombarding them, you should be doing this, and why aren't you taking that, and why aren't you doing that? Because this is what people were doing to me, and they meant well. These were family and friends, and I finally had to stop and say, everybody get away. I learned that please don't bombard someone that's going through this, because the only way we ever have an understanding and knowing of something is when we actually live through it. We
Yeah.
can think we know what to do or say, but until I got that diagnosis, I thought I knew. When a friend of mine went through it, oh my God, I can't, she must be. And then when it happened to me, I said, wow, now I know what this feels like. So I learned, ask someone, is there anything I can do to help? Do you need anything? Please, it's like, because we're so overwhelmed. The last thing you want to do is bombard somebody. So I learned that show up and be present for someone. Ask them, what can I do to help? Is there anything I can do? Do you want me to just sit here with you? And it's, again, not about doing. It's about being in the presence. Be a witness.
And not judging the methods
Right.
that they use to heal themselves, right? Or, whether it be allopathic medicine or holistic medicine or a combination of both, to not judge that, because I think everybody has to do what's comfortable for them, right?
That's right. People
Especially,
don't.
yeah.
They mean well. I've seen, stuff go on with. I've had, listen. I've had friends and family that I literally had to get away from. It wasn't because I was being mean. It was because they couldn't. They were afraid for me.
Yeah.
But I knew that if I didn't go within and go to my own soul and ask what it needs, the medicine, the most powerful medicine, whether you're using allopathic or holistic, is the medicine of your own soul. If you could go sit, if you're going in for a treatment, let's say a person is undergoing radiation or chemotherapy, that's fine. I've done both. I've done holistic and allopathic medicines. Let that person experience what they need to experience.
Yeah.
If they want some help, ask, what can I do? Like I said before, because we don't know. There's other reasons why a person goes through. Like, why would this person pick this medicine when it's so toxic? Well, it's not up to us to decide that. There's holistic medicines that sometimes can be toxic too, but yet people don't realize that. So whatever a person decides to use, support them. That's really important, because all medicine on the planet is here for a reason. And I believe if used properly, it can do wonders. Whatever side you decide to choose, if you're going to do both, sound is medicine, dance is medicine. Yes, there's medicine that comes from your doctor's prescription. It's all medicine. It's all sacred. It's on the planet for a reason.
And it's all right. And it all has a certain consciousness, doesn't it? We're starting to find out now about the consciousness of plants.
Yes, very much.
And of course, it's living, but everything's living. You think about my air conditioner remote. I love you. And I do love my air conditioner remote, especially going into the summer. But you think, oh, it's just a piece of plastic. No, it's part of the all that is, which you are a part of too.
In Hawaiian shamanism, they believe that even a piece of piece of furniture has a consciousness to it. It's got its own vibration.
Mm-hmm. Haven't you ever talked to something like your car? If it's starting to make funny noises, come on, honey, you can do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's so much to that, and that's what's I love, is that this whole thing about, the vibration, the nature of vibration, sound, and frequency is really opening up now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just blowing wide open, and it's and your intention, your frequency, your frequencies, whatever your intentionalities. If you have medicine, like say you're going through chemotherapy, right? To have the intention of speaking to that medicine,
Yes, I do a prayer over
right?
it. Uh,
Yes.
and then I bring sound in. This is all sacred medicine.
Mhm.
This,
Right.
because if you go in and say, oh, this is toxic, I better not use it, you're telling yourself that. So say, I understand this medicine can be intense, but I'm going to appreciate it because it's going to help me.
Right? Like, thank you. Thank you so much for everything you're doing in my body. Thank you for the healing aspects and body, and talk to your body and say, my body, I know we're going to be putting
Yep.
this lovely, this substance, but it's going to help heal us. And I need you to guide it to where it needs to go to do the best good for our highest good and to heal. I mean, that people, we're not
That's
taught to
powerful. And to
speak like that.
also, go to natural medicine and even sound vibration.
Yep.
Let's say a person's undergoing chemotherapy and they're having harsh effects,
Like the nausea. Yeah. Yeah.
whatever, nausea, losing their hair,
Yeah.
fatigue, their blood pressure drops. I've had some serious things go on 6 years ago when I went through this. I'm lucky I'm still here. I'm very fortunate. I give thanks to the Holy Creator for that. What I've learned is you can take the sound vibration, let's say, because that's what we talk about, when you have your treatment, and tone, do an oming, um, use your voice, get a crystal bowl out and say, if let's say you're feeling fatigue, say, I'm going to send some sound into the fatigue so it could lift my energy up. My red blood cells are getting a little low. I got to work on the hemoglobin. I'm going to go into the hemoglobin and I'm going to ask for a specific sound or mantra. What can I do to raise my hemoglobin?
Mm.
What can I do to help the fear that comes up? Because it's a human, this nonsense. Well, don't go to the fear because fear, we're human. Unless you walk through
Yeah.
this path, you have no idea. Fear, it's not the fear that's the problem. It's what you do about it. Like,
Or it's the,
yeah, I
or
go
the
to the
fear of the fear.
Yes, and I go to the fear like the child, say to the fear, I'm so sorry. What is it that you need from me? It's like, it is a little like orphan child, like, love me too.
Love the fear.
Yeah,
Right.
love me too. Love the fear. Yes, I'm human and I sometimes get frightened and it's okay.
I think a lot of us are working through a lot of fear right now too, processing that, or at least acknowledging it.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's not about
Yeah.
wallowing in it and getting stuck in it. It's saying, yes, in this moment, I'm feeling fearful. And it's okay because I'm human. And then I say, okay, you've been here now with me for about a half hour and it's a gorgeous day. I'm going to go out. I honor you. I see you. I feel you. But I'm going to take care of me today and I'm going to go out. If you want to come with me, fine. If you want to stay here, fine. Because, we have to honor our humanness, this nonsense that, you know, don't go to the fear or don't be angry or well, we're human. And now you don't want to make it your identity. I get that because that's not going to help us. But as soon as you honor it, and it's like when I feel the fear, I hug myself and say, I'm sorry. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. It's okay if you're feeling frightened. I see you. I feel you. I believe in you. I know you're getting my attention for a good reason. That's like, to me, do we get to do
Mm.
that? Learn these things?
No, no, and you do, and mentioned the New Age movement, and I think their idea of the positivity, but it's like high vibes only type of comments, and
Can't know high
no,
vibe without low vibe. So how can you have only high vibe?
no, right, you gotta have low vibes to have high vibes, exactly for the contrast.
Of course, we want to stay in a, we want to be in a place that's fun and loving and joyful and pleasure. These are all the things that we come in a human life for. But you're not going to know those things. Like somebody else said something about what's the opposite of the opposite of love is fear. But and everything has an opposite. But you know what I feel that, and this is my own thing. I don't want to push my belief on anyone. Love is pure love. When I see fear, I feel the opposite of fear for myself when I experienced it was trust.
Mm. Or lack of trust, you
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
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 Can I trust
Have
or am
faith.
I in fear?
Yeah.
And that it's okay if I'm in fear. It's okay to not feel okay. And that there's fear, there's anger, there's rage, there's sadness, there's grief, there's agony. All of these things are human emotions, normal to feel them. Yes, we don't want to make them our identity, but we want to honor that sometimes this comes up for me. And not always have to look, well, what's the opposite? No, just sit with what is.
Right, because if we're constantly pushing these feelings away, what are we literally doing? What's happening inside of us? If we think about those are all energetic expressions, where are we putting that?
Yeah,
Suppressing that energetic expression. We're suppressing it back down into the cells of our body, which I'm sure creates disease or
yeah. Like
imbalance. And
feelings buried alive never die. So
right, like the
rather,
book, yeah,
let's bring that up to the
yep.
surface and sit in front of it and say, okay, like I did to the cancer cells, what are you doing here?
Mm.
What is it that you want me to know?
Yeah, face it.
Yes,
Face it, right? Say, yeah, you're scaring the shit out of me.
that's right.
You're
And
really scaring me, and but I need to know what's going on here with you, right? Yeah, face it, ask it, talk to it. I think the ask and it shall be given. Ask it, ask the question.
it's a part of me, right? It's
Yeah,
like, it is a
yeah.
part of me. Is it my whole identity? No, of course not. But it's here. It showed up for a reason. If I deny it and abandon that too, I'm still abandoning myself.
Yes. And you're abandoning yourself when you push aside those other
Yeah,
shadow, dark, whatever you call them, negative, which it's not.
not at all.
No, I
No,
don't like the whole negative positive polarity crap. That it's
no,
just it's
no.
all part of the human experience.
That's exact. You just said it. That is
Yeah.
probably the whole key to this, that I came into this life, human life, to have a human experience. And part of that human experience is to go through the gamut of all these things. Yes, when the darkness and the heaviness and the scariness show up, I'll say, okay, this is, that's okay. This is here. I'm going to honor it. But now I'm going to say, like I said, I'm going to leave you where you are for the moment, and I'm going to see what is it that brings a sense of wholeness to me when I'm engaged in it. Like as a child, I always loved music. I always loved dancing. I always, whatever, the joy, there's the joy and the pain, right? So, okay, I allowed myself to sit with that pain for a bit, but I also, it's my birthright to live joy too, to be happy, no matter what happened to me in my childhood, because that childhood wound happened then. It is not happening now. I will honor it, I will acknowledge it, but it will not define me.
Mm. I felt somehow that the going through the trauma of my alcoholic family dynamic and then losing my mom, dad, and brother very young, I felt that enlarged my soul, all of that. And it made me want to be of service more to help others. And it
Yeah.
gave me a very rich tapestry for and tools to be able to, you know, to move into this being of service for other
That's
people.
that's a key thing to know about, because instead of, we turned our trauma into transformation. It's
Right.
like turning the wound into the wisdom. Like go into that wound because there's a gold nugget in there. I know it's scary, I know it hurts, it's uncomfortable, but you know what? There's something there, and we have to go in. We have to reach inside of ourselves and say, okay, I'm here. I'm listening. I say that. That's the other thing. I have a mantra. I see you, I believe in you, I feel you, and I know you, and I love you, and I am listening.
Mm. You have to add to your bio. You have to. So you are a warrior. Yes. You are a warrior, absolutely, Maryanne. And what a pleasure, a wonderful conversation with you today. I mean, we could just keep going and going. We'll have to do part two.
Yes. Well, would you like one final light
Yes,
language
yes, and
transmission?
no rush. Yeah, please take your time,
So
prepare.
this
I would love
transmission
to.
I'm getting very strongly is about healing.
Oh,
But not only is it about healing, it's about moving us into the wholeness that we already are that maybe we forgot about. So it's a reminder that yes, things happen, but I am whole right here, right now. So here it goes. All you have to do is breathe in and receive. Yarot ora kiara shat aluri kiara nonna ni ala ishana no kotoai. Varos alalai ernonia arakonia miara sotokoshalaya te. Olele ni ananani ara ashalalai erakuro sona nanananai alalai. Ilululu ilalu. Ay, 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 ay. Alulu. Alalai eanon arevishalaya akwai menos solo le alala kiarata anu shalalalai eakotoe. Ia la 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 na 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 ia. Alo akata irasha mo aliainana. Arakata, arakata, arakata. And you are blessed, and so it is. Thank you.
Did that just start for you? That the light, the language part of it? Did that just
Well, earlier on when I was
occur?
about being, I started with the vocal toning from the dance. They were connected. And then the evening at Medicenter, New York, with my two friends, Judy Satori and Jody Sirota. I mean, to say I was activated, I guess you could say it was activation, but I also feel that it was a transmission of receiving it. And that was, my gosh, probably over 20, like 20, more than 20 years ago.
Mm, mm.
It was a divine remembrance and a knowing that inside is the sound, the sound of your own. So the song of your soul is inside of you. And if you're willing to be open and say, okay, here I am. Let's go. Let's do this.
Oh,
You know,
what a
I do,
beautiful,
yeah,
beautiful.
I do have tools that I give
Mhm.
people to help them access it. Because as I said, I'm not teaching the language, but I'm giving the tools for you to access it, for you to open up and remember it. Because
Mm. The
it's
song of your soul is inside of you. Yes, yes. So if somebody would like to reach you, I will would love to, they can reach out to you, I'm assuming, through your website, right?
yeah.
And I will absolutely put that link in the description. And what an honor to be just to be present to your journey, Maryanne. And as I said before, you're a warrior, 100%. Girlfriend, you're amazing. And you're trying, the fact that you're just going into it with your eyes wide open, you're facing it, you're talking to it, you're having a conversation with all of this craziness, this fear and whatnot, and all these questions that you have about yourself and your body and what you're doing here. And you're not putting your head in the sand, much
Not
definitely
anymore.
not. Yeah,
Not anymore.
you're facing it head on, and that is it's so courageous. Yes, it
Oh,
takes
thanks.
tremendous courage. Yeah.
Thank you for everything that you're doing. Your
Yeah.
sound is so beautiful. I was
Aw.
very inspired the first time I heard you.
Aw.
And I really feel that, you're offering something to really help people know themselves better through your sound. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to listen. And again, check out Maryanne's website. It's a beautiful website, and there's so much rich content there. And thank you again, everyone. And Maryanne, thank you.
Thank you. And bright blessings to everyone.
Yes.